Hi guys, it's Jen, and I am back with a quick tutorial. I had talked about the background paper that you see here, and how I had made that with the black and the neon, which by the way, this is the finished card that I made with that. And some people said they didn't quite understand what I was saying, so I'm going to do a hopefully quick tutorial and show you how I did it. I already have my paper prepped here just because it needs to dry before you do the next step, but I will show you on this little scrap of paper. All I do is I take the neon inks, and in this case I'm using just a cotton ball, but you could use a foam blender if you have one, a dabber, and I just rub it on where I want it. This is not good paper, it's just a leftover envelope, so it's clearly not taking the ink very well, but you can see that on the cardstock, which is a little bit thicker and sturdier, you get this as your result. So I've done that, and the next step is to take whatever image you want. In this case, I'm using this star stamp, and it is from this My Mind's Eye Happy Days stamp set. And if you can see on here, it's not a perfect star. It has some spots in it, so that should be kind of cool because you might get little black spots in it and it'll show some texture. So I'm taking my Versamark ink, and I'm going to use my star stamp and just stamp it all over the paper. No real rhyme or reason where I'm choosing. I'm just covering this with stars. And I do like to try and get a little bit of where the colors overlap, just because I think it adds some interest to your final project. And I know you guys can't see the stars on here, but when you're doing it yourself, you can see where you just stamped, so that you're able to judge where you want your next stamp. This is fun. This works with a lot of different techniques, and I usually do turn it towards the light so that I can see, because in some cases, as you get further away, it's harder to see where you've stamped. This one is going to have quite a lot of stars on it, and I do like to make sure I go off the page so that it looks like it was made this way rather than something I just kind of added. Okay, so I think that's enough stars. And so the next step is to take your clear embossing powder, and I just keep mine in this container here, and you just put it over your images and give that a good tap, and you hope that it only sticks to your stars. This is not the best time or day to be doing this. Actually, this is the second time I'm filming this video, because the first time that I did it, when I got to this step, the embossing powder stuck everywhere, and it's kind of doing that to me again. It is super, 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 super humid around here today in the Northeast. We were supposed to get a bunch of storms, but they kind of missed us, so we're just left with the humidity. So I don't know if you can see now, the white on there is where the embossing powder is. I'm going to really quick grab something. I was hoping for a paintbrush, but I can't seem to find one. So I'll just use maybe this and scrape off some of the excess embossing powder. I don't really care if it's perfect, but you know, you don't want it to be too crazy on there. I will show you at the end of this something kind of cool that happened from my last mistake. So that looks well, it is what it is. We're gonna just go with it for the sake of the tutorial. Know that if you were not in a sweatbox like we are, you wouldn't have some of the problems that I'm having. It's really a very easy technique. But I think I got the majority of the extra splotches out. So now you just heat it with your heat gun, and it shouldn't take too long. You can see where each star starts to turn shiny, and that means that the embossing powder has melted. And so you just move on to the next one. I guess while I'm doing this, I'll tell you one other thing, is that I am doing this in real time because I don't really know how to edit videos on my iPod. If anybody has a really good editing program that they use on their iPod or their iPhone and wants to share in the comments below, I would love to know, because I'd love to be able to do some editing. It would make videos, especially this type of video, much, much easier, because you guys probably don't want to be sitting here watching me heat emboss all of these stars, but you are, I hope. Well, if you're not, you don't know that I'm saying that, so it all works out. Let's see if I have any other tips. Definitely make sure that your ink is dry, because it will stick to whatever is wet. Using a solid image seems to work better and go faster. Don't mind my dog barking in the background. Probably one of the cats was near him. Tragedy in this house, let me tell you. Just pure tragedy. We're a cat and dog house right now, and nobody that's an animal is happy about it. We're happy. We love them all. Okay, so those are all heated, and you can see that it's a little bit curled up. Just kind of play around with it or hit it with some heat in the back. But this is the quick version of this. Would you believe that? So then I just take my Tim Holtz Distress ink, and what I do is I go ahead and I just brush it right onto the paper, mush it in there, because you want to color all of this, and you'll see instantly that it beads up around the embossed areas, because they're going to resist this ink. And you are going to get inky fingers. I have not found a way around it. Maybe gloves would work. But for right now, I'm just going to warn you, inky fingers in this technique. So you just keep going until it looks like most of it is saturated. You can always go back and add more later. And then you take, you could use a wet cloth. I'm just using a baby wipe. And you go ahead and you start wiping off. You can see here, see how I got a lot of that powder on spots that are not the stars? So the first time that you wipe it off, you're just going to get a lot of mushy black. I don't know how else to describe it. Even on top of your stars, you're going to have a lot of kind of goo. So I like to go back in and see all of those spots, see if I can get any more ink in there, in case it's just a matter of that part did not get touched by the ink. So kind of do another layer, because distress inks do react to water. So some of that could be that the dampness of the cloth is wiping away the distress ink. So when I go back in the second time, I like to focus much more just on the stars that I'm trying to clear off. I would also probably hit this with a heat gun normally, or give it time to dry before I went back and did this, but this is just so you get an idea of how to do this technique. And you can see they're starting to clear off. And definitely going back, I think that second time helps, because it gets some of that extra ink off. I'm just getting a new baby wipe. And then you can see that those get really clean. You just got to get all that extra ink off of there. And that's really it for the technique. That's how it works. And it's super fun. Try it when it's not a super hot, humid day, or maybe you have a nice air-conditioned house if you're not in the Northeast, where we are not prepared or used to these temperatures, this humidity. We don't like it. So yeah, that's how you make that. Now, really quick, I have a couple seconds left before my time runs out. This is the first one that I did to show you guys, and I didn't let it dry enough, and so the embossing powder stuck sort of everywhere, but I kind of like how it turned out, because the embossing powder definitely stuck more where the stars were. So even on the part that's almost all pink, you can see the stars. So that might be something you want to try playing around with to get a different look than that stark neon and black look. So I hope that explained it. If there's anything I didn't explain, any questions you have, anything, let me know in the comments. Hope this helped. Thanks for watching as always. Bye guys.